Welcome, everyone, to the Michigan Association of Secondary School Principals podcast series, featuring great discussions, insight, and resources on all things related to education and administration. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MASSP podcast. My name is Ryan Casey. Season 6 is underway, and we are back at it again. And this time, I am joined once more by my new co-host and partner in crime here, Nina Davis, who is the principal at L'Anse Creuse Middle School East and our current MASSP president. Nina, thanks again for being here.
Hey, Ryan, happy to be here always. Happy to be doing the podcast along with you.
Awesome. And we have a great episode again today. We are joined by the new 2022 Assistant Principal of the Year, Al Reickard from North Rockford Middle School. Al, thanks so much for being here today. How you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Well, we just wanted to take, just to give listeners a little bit of context, this was just announced within the last couple of weeks. We're in early November right now. And one of the reasons you might be wondering, why is it 2022? We're in 2021. One of the reasons we do this is we try to align it to the national, the NASSP award competition, because Al will be up for that next summer. And so in order to get all this organized and underway, that's how it works. So he is the newest recipient. And so it's just a great honor to have you talk with us. And really, we just want to give those that are listening, whether they're assistant principals, or even teachers considering jumping into administration, we want to talk to the best in the business and those folks and kind of be able to pick your brain, so to speak. So I'm going to go ahead and let Nina take it away with our first question here.
Yeah, so first off, congratulations, Al. What a great honor this is. So we want all the details. Tell us what it was like to be surprised with this award. Just describe to us how it all went down.
Yeah, so actually it was kind of my worst nightmare, right? So I am not one that loves attention. I'm kind of the guy that stands in the wings, and I'm as I described it, I'm kind of like the director of the stage crew, right? I love being in the wings and making sure everybody's got their stuff needed and they can perform just so the show goes on, right? But so I knew I was a finalist, right? That was last school year, and then I hadn't heard anything. And funny enough, probably 3 weeks before this all went down, somebody asked me, "Hey, did you ever hear about what happened?" I'm like, "No, I haven't heard any updates." So it was, we had an early release day for professional development with staff. We had a 2-hour session that we were going to be working on some PLC initiatives. And so I was out on bus duty, and I got a radio call to come into the meeting, and which I thought I was coming in to work on professional development. And as soon as I opened the doors, there was all these cameras in my face and everybody cheering, and they had snuck my family and everything in the back door. So it was quite the surprise. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I think through all of this, probably the coolest thing is it's put me back in touch with some friends and some colleagues that I haven't talked to in quite a while, right? So it's been fun catching up with them.
Can you just tell us a little bit about your background and maybe your career path? How'd you end up as the assistant principal at North Rockford?
Sure. Yeah. So I actually am a Rockford graduate myself. So I'm a Ram through and through, and grew up here. My grandfather actually was the principal in Rockford that opened up what is now our freshman center, but that was the junior high at the time. So I grew up in an education family and was always around. My grandpa was kind of my hero. And speaking of that, like, happy Veterans Day to those of you out there. Thanks for your service. He was a World War II veteran and just one of the coolest guys you've ever met, right? And so really got me into that path from an early stage. So I graduated from Rockford. I was coaching at Rockford. I was a water polo player and a swimmer, and I was coaching our teams here all the way through college. I went to Grand Valley State University, got my undergraduate there, and then was hired at the freshman center in Rockford to teach social studies. And I was coaching varsity water polo and middle school swimming and all throughout that time. Then I got my master's in ed leadership, just as wasn't really positive I wanted to do the administration route, but it was an option that was available, right? So I went through that, and yeah, the rest is history, I guess. So I've been here for 11 years now as the assistant at North, working with Lisa Weidenfeller as the principal. We are a great team. things that she's amazing at are not my strengths, and the things that I do well, so we complement each other really well, and it's been a great relationship. So.
Very cool.
Great. So one of the things I love about hosting this podcast with Ryan is he lets me ask all the juicy questions. So Al, what I want to know is, what do you love about the AP role? And then what do you not love so much?
The AP role is kind of perfect for my personality. Like, I love being around kids. I've loved coaching kids and creating those relationships. And that's what I miss most about being in the classroom and coaching, is you just get to know kids at a really, deep level. Like, you're with them every day, coaching them from point A to point Z in their career. And so that's what I absolutely love. I love being in the lunchroom with kids, as chaotic as it can be. It's a lot of fun to have conversations with kids and coach kids through things. And so that's what I love about the AP role. Is just that personal connection you can kind of create. Because I know as we move up through the ranks, to principal, and if you're going to like a central office position, it in many cases, because of the responsibilities, can pull you a little bit further away from the classroom in some cases. And so I've loved this role for the last 11 years.
So anything that has been challenging being in the AP role?
Well, I don't think it's just challenging to the AP role in administration. I do follow you, Nina, on Twitter, and so I see your posts as well about some of the latest TikTok trends. So the thing I do not love dealing with is social media, cell phones. It's a whole rabbit hole that we get chased down, right? So the TikTok challenges, the devious lick, all of those things that kids get involved in get messy, and it's not my favorite thing. I do appreciate the ability, though, to step in with kids and coach them through making different choices, and hopefully being better, the next time they're presented with a choice, stopping and thinking. It's a tough thing for many middle schoolers, right? They're very impulsive. Social media doesn't help that. And so that's what I would say. I don't love social media and cell phones in the hands of middle schoolers.
Got it. So with some of these challenges, including social media and different things that we're dealing with, how do you stay positive when you have to deal with those type of issues that are sometimes difficult?
Yeah, it's along the lines of coaching, right? Like, I see myself as a coach. I've never left that role. And so when a kid has made a poor choice, bad decision, I relish the time where I can sit with them and say, hey, look, we made a mistake, but we can be better tomorrow, and coaching them through that. And that's where I feel positive after that experience. It's not fun to live it in the moment, but that restorative work that we have the ability to do with kids, and hopefully impacting them in a positive way to make better decisions going forward. And as I tell kids all the time, like, let's be the best version of ourselves we can today, right? And if we made a bad choice, let's be better tomorrow. And that usually heads kids in a good direction.
Absolutely.
Is there anything going on at North Rockford Middle School that, whether it's a program or initiative, that you are particularly proud of, and how it impacts staff or students?
Yeah. Again, I'm just more of like a supportive piece, right? And so a lot of these programs we put in the hands of our very talented staff members that we have throughout the state, right? And so they're the ones that are the ones on the ground running with it. And I'm just kind of here helping make sure they have what they need. But there are some programs we have. We house the regional mild cognitively impaired program for our county, and so we have a lot of students that have special needs that are challenges, and they're in a cognitively impaired program. But we have a program with them we call our buddies program. And so we pair them in classes, a gen ed class with gen ed students. And so there's PE buddies, and there's cooking buddies, and wood shop buddies. So a lot of those electives that our gen ed students get to take that can be challenges for some of our CI students to take, we pair them up with students that we do some training with at the beginning of how to work with students that have these types of special needs, and to help them progress within the classroom. Because in many cases, a student might have the tendency to just try to take over, where it's the design of the program is to get these students involved in doing some of these things that would be challenging. So I'm really proud of our Buddies program. And we actually have carried that up all the way through our high school now too. They call it like a peer program, peer mentoring type deal, but I'm very happy with that class and those programs because it does create a very inclusive environment for those students.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
Okay, Al, we're not going to let you get through without some kind of pandemic talk. So my question is, how has the pandemic changed the work that you do?
In many cases, I don't know that it's ultimately changed some of the work we've done, right? We're still dealing with a lot of the same things we did. I would say the thing I've noticed, especially this year, because last year was just messy for everybody. It was a very different format. Now that kids are back in school, you know, more often if they're not in quarantine, I would say reteaching of a lot of like social emotional skills. I've noticed that people are much less patient with each other, and you know, they're very quick to kind of react in more of a negative way, and just some of that piece, a lot of social emotional learning coaching. And it's understandable, right? Like we've all been through a very weird time in our lives, like something none of us have ever lived through. And to have a middle schooler going through it with the stage of development they're in is a challenge for them. And so a lot of social emotional coaching at a bigger scale.
Agree with you. I think those that don't understand middle school will never understand it before and even during the pandemic.
Yeah, they are, you know, we've always called it it's all about me years, right? They're very into how they fit. They're figuring out themselves and how they fit in, and their peer group can change from elementary to middle school. And it can be very, very challenging. Very few kids or adults will look back and be like, yeah, middle school, I wish I could do that all over again. It's not everybody's favorite, but it can be a really fun time. And you know, they are very inquisitive and very curious about things and figuring themselves out. And that's a really fun time in a kid's life. We just got to, in many cases, channel some of the hardships that they go through into a learning experience and into a more positive way.
Whether it's assistant principals, deans, or even teacher leaders think about jumping in, any advice that you would give them?
If you're thinking about jumping in, do it. We need positive, energetic leaders to, you know, help staff and help kids. I would say, you know, for an AP, I would say just, you know who you are. Be fun with kids and help them grow on a daily basis. Right? You're going to have challenges, and there are going to be days where you're like, "What did I sign up for?" But that's in any career, I think, right? And so I would just say, if you're thinking about it, sign up for a class, see if it fits you, shadow your AP or your principal, and see if it's something that you're looking to do. But if you really want to have a big impact on staff and kids in your community, you can have a big impact in your community in general in these roles. Then this is the position for you, right? And it is what you make it. If you want to sit behind a desk and not have a lot of interaction, probably not going to be your favorite job. But if you're out in the hallways and having fun with kids and helping them be involved, it's a really, really good time. It's a blast every day.
I want to put a plug in too, because if you've enjoyed listening to this, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Al, I think we've got you on the books maybe to come up to the AP and Deans Summit in Crystal Mountain. Is that official?
It's a potential. I have to.
Okay.
I have a travel hockey player son that has a lot of weekend tournaments and things. So
Gotcha.
I'm trying to finagle that. So if I can be there, I will.
Awesome. And you'll have an opportunity for those who want to come January 31st and February 1st up at Crystal Mountain Resort. You'll hear from some previous AP of the Year winners as well. So hopefully Al will be able to make it. Real quick before we let you go, Al, can you mind sharing? You said you're on Twitter, what your Twitter handle is for those who maybe want to follow you or reach out?
Yeah, it's at Al_Reickard. So Reickard.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Congratulations one more time. And we just really had fun getting a chance to talk to you today.
All right. Appreciate it, you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Al. Congratulations again.
Thanks, Nina. Have a great one.
And thank you to Nina, my co-host, for taking the time as always. Can't wait to do this again for the next half of season 6 of the MASSP podcast. Remember, you can listen to this podcast and more by heading over to massp.com/podcast or by going to the Apple Podcast Store. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great day.